there's this kind of shift in how information is flowing online, and it's invisible. And if we don't pay attention to it, it could be a real problem.
Because as a culture, we don't have enough in common anymore. And that's because the internet, which was supposed to unite the world, has become too adept at serving us personalized content.
Well, you know, it used to be the case that we all saw basically the same internet. And increasingly, we don't. We see different things depending on who the internet thinks we are and what the internet thinks we want to see.
Personalization.
Right.
It sounds so benign. In fact, it sounds attractive.
It sounds great.
It's
yeah.
geared and tailored for you. What could be better?
You're inside an invisible bubble where controversial news items and opposing viewpoints are being filtered out. The internet is hiding things from you.
And the filter bubble is the personal, unique universe of information that's created when you're surrounded by these kinds of personalizing algorithms. You know, this phenomenon is kind of sweeping across the web. More and more websites have it built in. There are a whole host of companies that are doing this kind of personalization. Yahoo News, the biggest news site on the internet, is now personalized. Different people get different things.
Do you know what I saw on Yahoo's front page this morning? No, you don't, because mine isn't the same as yours. People get news feeds now that just spit back customized stories based on what we've clicked on in the past.
Huffington Post, Washington Post, New York Times, all flirting with personalization in various ways. And where this moves us very quickly toward a world in which the internet is showing us what it thinks we want to see, but not necessarily what we need to see.
The idea of these filters is to connect us with the stuff that we like and we find relevant to our interests. The more efficient they get, though, the less likely we are to be exposed to points of view we disagree with or find unpleasant, and the less likely we are to find new topics.
But only seeing the stuff that confirms the opinions you already have isn't news.
If I search for something and you search for something, we may get very different search results.
So I, for example, might see a lot of stories about pot, American history, and of course, Christian mingle. Whereas Ted Nugent just gets ads for Prozac and bullets.
On Google, you know, most people think when they search for a term on Google, they're seeing sort of the results. That's not true anymore. Different people get very different results. Sometimes they differ pretty dramatically, and it's all based on, you know, what Google knows about you.
There are 57 signals that Google looks at about who you are. Your browser, your location, your web history. Even if you're not logged in, personalization is at work. There is no standard Google anymore.
Behind the scenes, there's this massive race underway online to be the company that has the most complete dossier of information about each of us. Facebook is on that hunt.
Facebook only shows you what you like and agree with. Challenging viewpoints are completely hidden.
Conservatives had disappeared from my Facebook feed. And what it turned out was going on was that Facebook was looking at which links I clicked on. And it was noticing that actually I was clicking more on my liberal friends' links than on my conservative friends' links. And without consulting me about it, it had edited them out. They disappeared.
The problem is that you don't know you're inside the filter bubble.
Because they're invisible a lot of the time, you don't actually know that your experience is kind of being personally tailored at all. It's very hard to tell who these websites think you are, and therefore what they're editing out. You have a big kind of unknown unknown. You don't know what you're missing.
Something's going on outside of your micro-targeted world of fashion or music or Wiccans or zombies or whatever you're into.
So how do you bust out of your filter bubble?
What's the solution?
How we're going to pierce through this bubble. What do we do?
And what are the concrete things that internet users need to do to solve the problem of the filter bubble?
A start is using a private browser, but really that's just a temporary solution because these companies are very good at finding new ways to track data about you. We do actually need to revamp the laws regulating the use of private information. These are laws that are 40 years old. They just don't contemplate a world in which one click somewhere can be sold to the highest bidder to affect what happens on a website somewhere else entirely without your knowledge or consent.
Part of the responsibility for solving this problem lies with Google and Facebook. They need to make transparent what they know about us and how they're using that information to determine what we see, what our search results are, what our news feeds look like. If algorithms are going to curate the world for us, if they're going to decide what we get to see and what we don't get to see, then we need to make sure that they're not just keyed to relevance. We need to make sure that they also show us things that are uncomfortable or challenging or important. This is what TED does, right? Other points of view.
We need to seek it out. We need to actually we need to challenge ourselves and seek out views that may be different from ours.
And they also need to give us users more control. We should be able to slide a slider across the top of the Facebook and see things that are more similar or more different to our own personal views. We should be able to choose more diversity, more heterogeneity.
Breaking the bubble is as easy as breaking some of your surfing habits. You'll finally be free of a personalized internet that does more harm than good. So surf smart, don't believe everything you read, and stop living inside the bubble.